All right, we are back for week 9. I'm started off here with Caden, who's always here on time, and then Cason as well has made his return. We should have more people coming momentarily, but we're going to get started with this recap here. We've been off the last 2 weeks. Last week we had some technical difficulties. So yes, sorry to our audience there, Carson Hunsley and Brady Nimers. Um, anyway, so we'll get this started with our week 8 recap. All right. It loads.
Meanwhile, Freddie Freeman got robbed of a home run
Really.
Uh,
So tough.
by Aaron Judge, of course.
Well, it's just disgusting. All right, so week 8 recap. We're gonna start with the most blatant face mask of all time. Sam Darnold doesn't know how to sell it like Aaron Rodgers does, apparently. We saw Aaron Rodgers on Thursday Night Football back in like 2016 get that done. 2015, whichever year it was. But Caden, what do you feel about the Vikings going forward at this point?
I mean, I think they'll still win some games. I don't really think they're like a. I mean, first of all, let me just say that face mask, no call, call it right. I don't give a shit, whatever. It doesn't matter. I don't. People need to stop bitching about bad officiating. See it every game. Anyways, I know they just traded for that left tackle. I don't really give a fuck. That guy's. You're not going to replace Christian Darrisaw. Um, A guy got benched in Jacksonville. Although, what does Doug Peterson know anymore? I guess so. Whatever. We'll see. Personally would have rather seen 6th round rookie Walter Rouse in there rather than giving up a draft pick, even if it's a 2026 6th rounder that could move up to fourth. But no, I think the Vikings will still be able to get a wild card spot and lose early on in the playoffs somewhere.
The Rams, all I all I really got out of this game is that the Vikings, I mean, yeah, they got screwed, but they're not going to drive 95 yards down the field anyway. And the Vikings, I was thinking they were a little fraudulent, but I don't know. They have a very easy schedule coming up, so we'll see. But also the Rams, when they are fully healthy, they are a very good football team. So I'd be scared for them in the playoffs.
You
Or
might
if
win that division.
what's that?
You might win that division.
Yeah, they might win that division, honestly, because no team in that division has really stuck out this season. So that'll take us to the next game, which I gotta be repping him again. Jameis Winston. I mean, come on, that man. Just give him the keys to Cleveland and he will win you some football games. He just took out the Ravens, who are a big AFC North rival, helping out the Steelers in that divisional race. Also with Cleveland now winning, the Bengals, I don't know, they need to start winning some football games. But Kaysen, what do you think about Lamar Jackson at the very end of this game having Rashad Bateman drop a ball wide open in the sun?
I'm gonna be honest. Catching balls in the sun is it can be hard, but at the same time, my level of experience as a high school football player versus NFL player, little different. I thought that Jameis played really well in this game, and they probably should have started him like 4 weeks ago at least. And the Browns might be a legit playoff contender. Instead, they're 2-6 and kind of needing a miracle, honestly. Lamar, the last couple plays of this game, it's fun to always watch him run around and then throw the ball up at the end of these games. But I think the biggest thing with the Ravens is them committing the biggest robbery since OG Simpson in Las Vegas of the Carolina Panthers, basically losing 15 spots in the draft and getting Deontay Johnson. I think that's pretty big for them.
Yeah, it kind of makes me wish that Josh was in this waiting room already because speaking of waiting room, Mekel has just joined. But Josh is a big Deontay Johnson guy, and me and Caden have had to listen to him try to sell Deontay Johnson over and over in our fantasy league. And talks have gone nowhere because Deontay Johnson had Bryce Young throwing to him. And Caden, you might actually have to trade for Deontay Johnson now that he's in a real system there. Not a
Eh,
wide receiver friendly system, but
yeah, I don't know. I mean, well, first of all, apparently PJ Fleck didn't teach Rashad Bateman how to catch balls at Minnesota, but I don't know. Josh's asking price for Deontay Johnson is just ridiculous for a mid receiver.
yeah, Josh's fantasy team is not very good. I would not want to touch it. I sit at the top of that league anyway, and I'm not touching Josh's team. Um, I think anyone on my bench could be a every week starter for him. But what's up, Mekel? We are now on the Lions and Titans game. There's not much to talk about in this game other than utter dominance from the Lions, but as an NFC North divisional rival, how scared are you of the Lions right now?
I mean, they are rolling, but we could have beat them, and my team's kind of trash right now, so I'm not too worried. I think Green Bay takes them this week.
Green Bay. Yeah, we'll get to that. That's it's definitely one of the more intriguing games of the season in that one. I'm not even taking Green Bay though, but like I said, we'll get to that. The more important thing, and I wish Dylan Gross was here for this. Anthony Richardson subs himself out of the game. Like he's a receiver that just ran two go routes or something. Literally taps himself on the helmet, says he needs a break. I cannot believe that. The Colts, oh my God, the Colts should have won this game to begin with because did you guys see the fumble six that he was called down or whatever at the very end of the game? I was watching Scott Hanson on the witching hour, and that man was absolutely losing his mind during that because there was like four scores in a row within the span of like 30 seconds. And Joe Mixon got absolutely blown up on a halfback toss, fumbled the ball. The Colts ran down and had a fumble six, but the dude was down when he picked the ball up, I guess, by contact. But Colts honestly should have won this game, but what do you feel if you're a Colts fan and you have Anthony Richardson, who has 44% completion rate on the season, subbing himself out of the game on third down?
I ain't feeling good. Starting Joe Flacco, man is elite. And on top of that, like the likes of like Cam Newton or RG3, like scrambling quarterbacks that have busted their ass, getting hit all the time, like that's kind of a comparison for him. I don't understand it. Even McAfee, I think he said he's never seen a quarterback ever do that in the history of the NFL. So it's insane.
Yeah, McAfee, he's gotta support his former team and everything, the Colts, but it's like when you got Pat McAfee calling you out like that, I don't know, it's pretty bad.
Yeah,
Um, so do you guys want to talk a little bit more about that game, or you want to move on to the Tua and Kyler Murray, two of my least favorite quarterbacks?
I personally didn't watch the game, so I don't have much to add to it.
I think we got a lot to cover, but I think just I don't know. I think it's hard to see your franchise quarterback or potential franchise quarterback ever subbing himself out and without for a reason that's not an injury. And I think that the switch to Joe Flacco just kind of proves that his time in Indianapolis is probably over as the long-term starter unless Flacco gets hurt or he comes back for any reason and just balls out.
Okay,
Sam Darnold,
Cason,
starting Colts quarterback 2025.
who'd you say starting for?
Sam Darnold, starting Colts quarterback 2025.
Hey, remember they have another Sam
I could see
waiting
that.
around there on the bench there.
Yeah, we don't need to see him in the game.
And we don't need Tim Boyle comparisons in the game.
All right, but Cason, I know that you were kind of siding with Dylan in a group chat earlier about how people were very quick to judge Josh Allen, and now it's looking like the same with Anthony Richardson. And I did see something where the Colts gave up on Anthony Richardson within 15 games or whatever it was, and Daniel Jones has started 71 football games, which we know that that man's absolute garbage. And I hate the fact if he's actually a thing with Kay Adams, that just makes me angrier than anything.
No way.
Yeah, I know that's what I'm saying.
No.
That's true.
Oh,
Literally
that's a whole
confirmed.
different segment right there.
I don't know if it's confirmed or not, but there's a lot of speculation around.
Yeah. Well, that was before he started playing like hot ass. Wasn't that in the pre?
Yeah, that's true. It's when he grew the beard out and then he was suddenly good and
She could
then
do so much better than him.
yeah, well, yeah,
That's a
He has a
shame.
lot of money though.
he
And
does.
he was like 15 years younger than her, I guess.
Yeah.
Young
Go
was
after
like,
Jalen Hurts or something. You got money too.
Yeah. I
yeah,
mean,
Adams is pretty old, I think.
she's like 38 or
Yeah.
something.
I mean,
She's like actually she looks good for it
yeah,
though.
she looks great. But like, yeah, she's pushing 40.
But but Cason, what do you feel about them, that whole Josh Allen comparison about how, oh, you guys were all up in arms about Josh Allen at the beginning of his career.
I think it's hard to judge a quarterback based on, gosh, what has he actually started? Like 6 games, 7 games in his career, honestly, between all the injuries and times he's been out. I think the bigger problem was just a team that's trying to win now with no other quarterback drafting one of the biggest project quarterbacks of the last probably ever in the NFL, honestly. You can't go out if you're a team like the Colts who are trying to win games, trying to compete, and draft this project quarterback and then be pissed when in 7 games he looks like pretty ass. I mean, he has a cannon, he's fast. I mean, he's probably faster than most other quarterbacks that have ever played the position, but he's extremely inaccurate. There's a lot of things that I mean, think about Jordan Love. 7 games into last year, he looked kind of iffy. He has talent. You could tell that. He had some games where he was good. He had some games where he was bad. But I think the bigger problem for the Colts is that they're just so flip floppy on him now. With it's he's hurt, he's back, he's hurt again because we're gonna run a quarterback draw after he gets killed one play and goes out because he's hurt, and then you bench him for Flacco, which I think is a win now move, is a great move because I think Flacco can get them to the playoffs with how weak their schedule is, and they're 4-4, and the AFC just kind of sucks outside of the top teams. But I think long term, if he goes somewhere, sits a year, learns in a system, something like that, if he were to go to one of these better offensive coaches, he has a chance to do something. But I think his time with the Colts is done.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. And the fact that the Colts are keeping themselves in the playoff picture and the AFC playoff picture in general is still pretty wide open. I mean, you got the teams like the Titans and Patriots that obviously are not going to make it, but I don't
Should be
know.
5-3.
Yeah, um, but then Arizona and Miami, I didn't watch much of this game. Miami looks a lot better with Tua at quarterback, obviously. I also saw the funniest TikTok of this girl today that was absolutely hating on Skylar Thompson. I was gonna send it to you, Caden, but I didn't. Skylar Thompson and Tyler Huntley. And then she just started flaming Tim Boyle in the video. And that's honestly the only thing that I can even think about in this game besides Chad Ryland or whatever his name is kicking a game-winning field goal. Like I didn't watch any of this game. Two teams that I just don't like or give any two shits about, honestly. So, um, I don't know. You guys can talk about it if you want to, or we'll just skip to the next.
My only takeaway is that I think Kyler and Marvin Harrison are starting to get more on the same page. And same with Trey McBride. And Kyler looks a lot better when he has targets that are competent. But that was also before Call of Duty was released, if I'm not mistaken. So now we'll see. Maybe it was right when Call of Duty came out. I can't remember for sure. I haven't played those games in a while. But we'll see if Kyler can keep it up as Call of Duty's been out for a little bit and those double XP lobbies start going up.
Exactly. Yep. He said himself, you guys worked me into a bag, and now he's gonna be stealing money from the Cardinals probably in weeks to come. So then Green Bay and Jacksonville, I said it last week, the Packers always play like garbage in Jacksonville. They almost lost this game, but thank you to Brandon McManus once again, who has had 2 game winners in a row now. Packers might have finally found a kicker. Also, thank you to Malik Willis. I don't care what anyone says. You can pay Jordan Love all the money in the world that they did. Malik Willis looks really good in that system. Like I hope that they start him this week. I highly doubt that they will. You know, they have a bye week next week and they play Detroit this week. There's no reason not to start Malik Willis, but they'll probably go with Jordan Love, and that's going to make me mad. But Malik Willis leads a game-winning drive. He's now 3-0 with the Packers. He has a 140.5 passer rating on like a minimum of 30 attempts or whatever. So he has the highest passer rating in the league because he is eligible for it. So I don't know. The dude looks really good. The run game is much better with him in there. I'm not saying he's better than Jordan Love or anything, but that offense definitely puts it together a lot better with Malik Willis. So, and my other takeaway is that I cannot believe the Packers let up a touchdown to Evan Ingram when he was triple covered, and they made Trevor Lawrence look somewhat good at the end of that game, even though he's an absolute bum. That still will always remain true. So then the Jets and Patriots.
We got cooked.
Yeah, I don't think anybody expected the Patriots winning this. Not even Brady Nelson did. So you know that it's bad when the
Did
Jets,
you guys see the stat?
yes,
The
they didn't allow 250 yards of offense. They didn't turn the ball over. There was something else to it too. Do you guys remember what the other one was?
It was like, yeah, turnovers, certain amount of yards, like defensive points. I forget it all, but
Probably like time of
yeah,
possession or something, but
700 to 1,
750
50
and
to 1.
one. And
That is
then
insane.
the one was the Jets on Sunday. Mekel, I know you're a big Aaron Rodgers guy, so what does
Yeah,
he do?
we're cooked. He just stopped being a bitch, first off. Um,
Fire.
I don't know. Yeah, fire the next head coach. Um, I don't know. I'm really confused why it's not meshing. They have a really good running back. They have Devontae Adams and like an average, I wouldn't say average, because they have Garrett Wilson too, but after that, like average receivers to help out behind that. Conklin and their offensive line seems to be the shakiest part, but they still have some like household names there. And the defense just isn't clicking. I really don't know what the problem is. Um, this team seemed to be doing just fine and meshed well last year without Rodgers. Now when he's there, seems to all fall apart. Their big mistake was firing Sala, though. That's all stemming from. He was their best coach by far. So from here on out, I don't know. There's no more excuses. I don't think.
Robert Saleh, was he the problem? Does anybody else think that?
I don't think he does.
Now he's in Green Bay with Matt LaFleur in a fluid role, whatever that means. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, you have the Green Bay Jets in New York, and it's just like I don't know. It's hard to say because Aaron Rodgers, he's coming off injury, so as a 40-year-old coming off an Achilles tear, you got to cut him a little bit of slack, but it's like that dude took the keys of that front office and just ran with it, and he's basically ran into a light pole with the car. I mean, he's not done anything for them so far. Um, this Thursday night, I guess we will really see if the Jets are tanking for the rest of the year or if they're actually gonna, do an Aaron Rodgers vintage run the table on the season. So then Falcons Buccaneers, this is probably a lot better of a game than everyone expected. Those NFC South matchups are always good. I love the Buccaneers uniforms, those creamsicles. I will always love those things. Buccaneers offense played pretty well without Godwin and Evans.
And Evans, yep.
Yeah, Cade Otton. I don't know, Caden. How about Cade Otton going off?
Yeah, Caden did his thing. I know 2 weeks ago we watched him in Hot Shots Bar in downtown South Dakota, put up some points on Monday Night Football, and then he just built on that performance. Unfortunately, they fell a little short, but congratulations to Kirk. It's another win. And I believe I did pick the Falcons. Yes, looks like it. So I've still only gotten one Falcons game wrong this year.
Yeah, seems every week more and more Falcons are across the board for us. I know this next week everyone's on the Falcons wagon, but I don't know. I'm also surprised that Younghoe Koo missed a field goal at the end of that game. I don't think I remember the last time I saw that dude miss a field goal, but he missed one at the end.
Missed
And,
one the last time they played the Bucks on Thursday night.
oh, did he really?
Yeah. So it must
Yeah,
just be the Bucks.
it's something about the Buccaneers, but also Baker had a chance at a Hail Mary at the end of that game and threw it out of the back of the end zone, so that's very tough.
He's not Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, I was gonna say we had another Hail Mary later on this year.
He's got too big a ball to keep that in the end zone.
Yeah, that's fair.
No, too big and not throw it out the back.
And last week I said that this would probably be the game of the week. This was not the game of the week at all. I think every other game, the point differential was closer than this game. The Bengals and Eagles. Caden, I know you don't like Joe Burrow. You've been saying it all year that the Bengals are overrated. And you also went with the Eagles this game. What'd you feel watching that game, if you did watch it at all?
Yeah, I did. Well, actually, that was probably the game I was the most tuned into, at least through 3 quarters in that noon window on Sunday. Um, well, Mekel was actually the first one to put me on the Joe Burrow's getting a little too much. I wouldn't say I don't like Joe Burrow. I just agree with Mekel. I don't think like he's this solidified top 5 guy in the league. But yeah, I picked the Eagles just because I, at this point, trust Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley more than Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, which I said that last week and people acted like I sounded crazy. I am a Jalen Hurts guy, so there might be a little bias there, but I think just watching that game, some of the throws he was making is probably one of the better games I've watched Jalen Hurts play in the last year. He was definitely on point on that Sunday. I don't know what he had for breakfast, but every big third down conversion, he made the right play, made the right read, hit the right guy. The ball was accurate. If he plays like that, um, I don't. It's tough to really fully buy into the Eagles with Sirianni there, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
This was just a battle of the dumbass coaches, if you really think about it. Hate Zach
Yeah, it
Taylor
was.
and hate Nick Sirianni.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think the Eagles' ceiling, right? I think the Eagles' ceiling this year with Sirianni is probably a conference championship game, like their ceiling.
I
really.
can get with that.
Yeah,
I think a wild card division.
I think their ceiling conference championship, like that's best case scenario for them. Conference championship with Sirianni.
Yeah, that's fair.
Unless they fire him.
So then the Saints and Chargers, I don't think I watched a minute of this game. It was 3-2 for a while, though. I did notice that.
Yeah, me too.
One of those,
Started out bad. Chargers were running the ball though. They were doing a good job.
yeah,
I
not
watched
much
it.
to
Herbert
say.
had his best game. He was like making phenomenal passes.
Yeah. Herbert, he can look good at times. He can also look like Quentin Johnson's his wide receiver one, dropping balls left and right at times as well. But I don't have
Disrespect
much
Lad
to.
McConkey.
Yeah, Lad McConkey now.
6
I don't have
catches,
any
2 touchdowns.
besides, I guess that.
Problem with him is White trying to play a wide receiver.
Who?
Problem with Lad McConkey is he's white and trying to play wide receiver.
Stick him in the slot.
I've seen it work a few times with white wide receivers, but I don't know if Lad McConkey's one of those guys.
Well, it can't work, but they're never going to be like a top 10 receiver.
Was
from-
Jordy Nelson? Was Jordy Nelson?
Okay, I have to say,
Super Cup.
Jordy Nelson, Cooper Kupp, and Julian Edelman are the three that.
Cooper Kupp did have 1 year.
Yeah, he had that like record.
I was never that high on Julian Edelman.
I was never either, but I had to throw his name in there if I'm going to say Jordy Nelson, because otherwise I know Nelson would give me backlash for that. So,
He's talking best wide receivers all time.
yeah.
I'm talking about. Anybody say Wes Welker?
I was going to say, yeah, Wes Welker's more relevant than Edelman, but
Yeah, probably.
Edelman had that stupid Super Bowl catch, so,
Who's the guy for the Seahawks? The Hall of Famer now.
Steve Largent.
Yeah.
That was before our
just-
time, though. We don't care about that.
Hey, one thing before we move on though, Chargers have 13 points allowed per game for their defense, so they're killing it on defense low key. Nobody is really talking about that. I don't think.
Yeah.
One more thing. I just to take over the podcast for a second, Tim.
Oh, God.
First off, we need to have a serious talk with Tim, guys. Why did he pick Seattle to beat Buffalo? Is he a Geno Smith stan?
Okay, absolutely not. I don't know what it was in me
Wait,
that
Giles didn't take Seattle.
I know that's shocking.
And Tim did.
Mm.
And I'm like the biggest
Mm.
Josh Allen guy, so I don't know what made me pick Seattle. But I just thought from a team going to the East Coast to play in the West Coast, because a lot of times teams from the East Coast play horrible on the West Coast. I was thinking there's a chance of Seattle making this a trap game, but obviously that did not happen. Bills blew them out.
Well, the game before this, Seattle blew out
Yeah, they blew out
Atlanta, and it was
Atlanta.
like 41-14. So
And
yeah, that
now
makes sense. Momentum's in their way. And yeah,
yeah, and that was a little bit of my point last week when that episode never technically got recorded or whatever. But um yeah, not much to say about this. I still think Josh Allen deserves to be a front runner for MVP. Um
Zero
did
interceptions.
Amari Cooper didn't do anything last week, did
not
he?
one now.
Yeah.
One
Uh,
catch, 3 yards.
all you need is Khalil Shakir, the Boise State alumni, and yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Also
15 now.
Keon Coleman, he looks a lot better than people were saying at the beginning of the year.
All I want to say, Khalil Shakir, and we got Josh Allen here at the Wyoming Cowboys.
That's very true.
Uh-oh.
Speaking
No.
of name Josh, look who
Gosh,
just
Giles.
joined. If he actually connects. Also, Brady Nelson's supposed to be coming in here momentarily, and he's been
Hello,
waiting.
can you hear me?
There he
Hey,
is.
Josh, we got a question for you, real quick. How
Yeah.
come you
What's up?
betrayed your beloved Seahawks and Geno Smith for the Bills?
It's the defense, man. They're dog shit.
Yeah, that coach isn't that good either.
Yeah. It was never him. It was all Harbaugh. And DK's out. And the offensive line is still terrible.
Josh, don't worry. I got PJ
You were on the coach at the beginning of the year, and you know it. Don't even deny.
I thought he'd be good. They hyped him up. He was supposed to fix
Why you
the
don't listen to the
defense.
media, bro.
Give it some
Yeah.
time. Just like Richard
Speaking-
Wilson, time.
old.
Speaking of not listening to the media, our next game, Caleb Williams. You know, I don't give a shit if they were favorites. I don't care. If Caleb Williams is ever a favorite, I'm not going to pick him. Caleb Williams sucks, and seeing him freaking cry at the end of that game on that Hail Mary was the funniest thing I'd seen that week. Also, Tyreek Stevenson, we got to mention how stupid that guy is. But I am shocked that so many people went with the Bears this week. So people that went with the Bears, oh, look, everybody in this call right now besides me, why on earth did you go with Chicago? Is it because the media is telling you that Caleb Williams is good? Because it's pretty obvious that that guy is not good at football.
I don't listen to fake news, Tim. But the thing is, the Bears would have won that game if Colonel Clusterfuck wasn't dancing in the back of the end zone and paid attention to the freaking game. He turns around, like, it's a dub. And I don't know. With Jaden Daniels, I wasn't sure if he was playing. Then we found out he would. Didn't know how healthy he'd be. The Bears seemed to be balling and rolling. And besides the last play of that game, that was a fluke play. They're winning the game. So,
Well, he did turn around because he was the one that tipped the ball up to Noah Brown.
yeah, I mean, he could have been in position to could have spotted that guy at the back and just like blocked him off, boxed him. I don't know. I'm not an NFL player, but I also know I wouldn't be celebrating back there. Did you guys see the fans too were like yelling at him, pointing like it's going? Like, yeah.
I got to agree there. If the Bears defense does what a Pee-wee football team's coach to do on a Hail Mary, they win that game, but they didn't. Because why do that when you can talk shit to fans? Also, I picked the Bears because living with a Falcons fan for a few years and watching a lot of Atlanta Falcons games with Marcus Mariota as quarterback and then Desmond Ridder as quarterback and whatever other Home Depot cashier that week's at quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons the past few years, I couldn't bring myself to pick Marcus Mariota.
Marcus Mariota might have played the Titans defense like the week before, or no, the Panthers defense the week before, but I mean, he looked good. He hadn't played in however many years and he looked good. So it didn't matter who was at quarterback for me. I was picking the Commanders the whole way, and I'm glad that I did. Like I said, you guys can keep listening to the media about your precious Caleb Williams. Oh, look who's in here. I was going to go on from this game, but I need to hear this guy's opinion on Caleb Williams as of right now. If he gets in here. Come on, Brady. Brady. Get your
There he
mic
is.
on, Brady.
Yes, sir. Sorry, that was being a pain.
Brady, you gotta let me know about Caleb Williams right now.
Oh,
We're in that game.
he still sucks. I don't know. What else is there to add?
Thank you, Nelson. That's
Well
exactly
said.
what I
Well
wanted to
said.
hear. All right. So then the Broncos and Panthers game, I don't think there's anything to say in this other than the Broncos might actually be better than we thought.
Oh, Nix is a fantasy god.
Bo Nix is a good fantasy quarterback, but I don't think he's a good actual quarterback.
Doesn't apply to me outside of fantasy, so I mean, I'm taking it.
Fair. So then we'll move on to another AFC West team. Mekel, I know you're a big Raiders guy. Raiders
Oh,
played a lot
Raiders.
closer than a lot of people thought, probably.
They always do, man. Raiders always play divisional games close, but they always lose. So
I'm still
Chiefs
not
always play divisional games close too.
who's that?
sold on the Chiefs actually being good, but you know what? They're probably going to make the Super Bowl every freaking year just because that's what makes the NFL the most money.
It's what the media wants, Tim.
Yeah, well, I don't give a shit what the media says. We know that. Um, another vintage Sunday night football rivalry. I didn't watch a single minute of this game, I don't think. So, Mekel, you were the only one that went Cowboys. Did anyone tune into this game? I know Caden probably did because
Yeah, I tuned in.
huh?
I tuned in, yeah.
How was it?
You know, about what you would expect with two mid quarterbacks trying to get the game away to one another.
It didn't live up to the Seahawks, Steelers and Cowboys.
No, there wasn't. Russell Wilson wasn't up there dotting up moon balls, that's for sure.
Russ didn't play in that game.
What?
What
Yeah,
else?
the score.
Russ
Said
didn't
Lucky
play
played
in the
that game.
Steelers Cowboys game. That was
Yeah.
the week before.
What's your argument to that
They
one,
would have won if he did.
Yeah.
They still would have lost.
The last Steelers primetime game Russ played in, it wasn't versus the Cowboys, it was versus whoever they played.
The Jets.
this-
Yeah, the Jets.
yeah, it's because the Steelers were on prime time 3 weeks in a row because everyone wanted to see that.
Which honestly, I could just get down with the Steelers being on primetime every week. If Russ is starting.
Well, all I know is that Monday night game, Daniel Jones. I think it's time to move on to one of Josh Giles' favorite quarterbacks and Drew Lock. But if I'm
Put the
talking,
bag on. Put it on. Pop. Pop.
if I'm talking, it's got to be Tommy Cutlets before anybody. Tommy Cutlets was
I
their most
agree,
successful
actually.
quarterback last year. Don't understand why he's listed as their emergency quarterback right now on the roster. That makes no sense to me. But Brian Dable, I guess, is just an idiot. So,
So apparently, have you heard? Apparently, he's got an injury guarantee. They might bench him. Do the same thing. Was it Matt Ryan? Was it last year? There was somebody last year.
Russ.
Russ, Derek Carr. Yeah. They've all had that injury guarantee, so then
Derek
they
Carr,
just
yeah.
sit them. Yeah. But I've heard that's what they might be doing too, which makes sense. If you're going to move on, save yourself some money.
well, this was one of the best weeks for everybody. So good job, everyone, on your picks. Nobody went worse than 11-5. Top three stayed the same. Cason, you got a game up on Brady and Mekel. Caden, you moved up in the rankings a little bit too. You're now tied for seventh. Josh, you are still down at the bottom.
Slow grind. We're making our way.
It's week 9 now. You got to wake up now. Come on.
Dude, I went 11-5. The boys are hot. What do you want me to do?
But 11-5 was also the worst record of the week.
Yeah.
I mean, I was also one away from the best. So,
Well, we'll see what Josh does this week. because it's time for the week 9 picks. All right. Very interesting here. Mekel, you're going to kick us off on why you picked the New York Football Jets.
Yeah, so the Jets are favored like minus 150, and I was like, what the hell is that about? And I found out Diggs was hurt. Looking at the Colts and Texans game, it was not very good, not very clean. I think Texans are kind of on the down end here, and I don't know. Jets are 2-6. Maybe Rodgers and Devontae have like a big throwback game to themselves. It just seems like a little bit of a trap game to me. Thursday night, the Vikings lost to the Rams last week. That wasn't supposed to happen. So I think this could be one of those.
I think the Texans are a little bit fraudulent of a team in general this year. Like I said, I could see CJ Stroud. I said this like week 1 or whatever in our bold predictions. I could see CJ Stroud having a sophomore slump, which he hasn't exactly had, but he's had some bad games at times. Um, I thought you picked this game just because of the water and cayenne pepper.
It is. You fought me.
I could also potentially see the Jets doing something, but it's basically a win now game. If the Jets don't win it, they're out of playoff contention, which they pretty much already are. But like I also said, the AFC seems pretty open right now with their playoffs. Um, so the next game, Falcons and Cowboys. Everybody went Falcons. So you know what that means. Cowboys are probably going to win an upset now. But I don't know. The Cowboys just they don't look good this year. I mean, they don't usually look good, but especially this year, I haven't been impressed with anything that they do. Um,
Kirko Chain's got us.
yeah,
Did you hear Kirk's pump up last week?
The
Yeah.
trap thing.
yeah. I mean, I don't even know if he's gonna have to have a pregame little hoorah like that for the Cowboys because what is there on the Cowboys besides like CeeDee Lamb right now?
Eric Kendricks.
The corpse of Eric Kendricks, yeah. How about we talk about a relevant linebacker on their team, DeMarvion Overshown, big Texas guy right there. You know, he's pretty underrated. Um, but
Anybody know if Micah or Lawrence are back?
Or
I
what
think
about
Mike is questionable.
They're both out, I'm pretty sure.
Not that that changes my pick. The Cowboys still suck, but
Mike Zimmer really sucks.
yeah, Mike Zimmer is he's a
Washed.
man. So then the next game, Ravens and Broncos. Cason, I know that you're high on the Broncos, not high enough to pick them over the Ravens apparently, but and Brady, I also know that you're low on the Ravens. So, Cason, why'd you go Ravens?
While I do think the Broncos honestly do have a shot at the playoffs just based on the fact that half their schedule is just complete garbage. I think the Ravens, after losing last year to the Browns, the Ravens always do this every year. They'll lose a game for no reason, then they'll go on like a 4 to 5 game win streak. Then they'll lose another game for literally no reason against some garbage team. They did it earlier this year when they lost to the Raiders. It's just a Ravens thing to do to fall asleep, wake up for a few weeks, and then fall asleep again.
Fair enough. Brady, I know that you're the biggest Lamar Jackson hater on planet Earth, so why did you still stick with the Ravens despite their loss last week to Cleveland and everything?
I mean, games in Baltimore, they usually don't drop 2 in a row. I have zero faith in Bo Nix actually playing a string of what would it be 3 games that are good in a row. Even if this Baltimore defense is terrible, I think they can have a little bit of a get right week against the joke of a team in Denver.
Denver's defense might actually
Joke
be
of a team, yeah.
Strength of Denver's team is in their secondary, and they don't need to pass the ball. Give it to Henry 25 times.
There you go. Also, my other question is,
Deontay?
do you hate Lamar Jackson?
No, I just don't overrate him like everyone else.
Oh, okay. Well, I was expecting somebody to at least go with the Dolphins this week now that, their offense looks like it could be something again. But everyone must know that the Bills own the Dolphins, and everyone wants the Bills on this one. Plus, it's in Buffalo. Josh Allen, for the sake of my fantasy team, please actually do something against Miami this time. Don't just kick the rock to James Cook freaking 25 times this game. Please and thank you. Anyone want to say anything about this game? Because I literally do not care about it. No. Okay. All right. So then, classic NFC South matchup, Panthers and Saints. I picked the Panthers thinking that Andy Dalton would be back at quarterback, but it's fine. I guess I'll roll with Bryce Young, and I have a 3-game lead anyway over Dylan. So, and like a 7-game lead over Devin. So it's fine. I can drop this game if they lose, but I don't think that they're going to lose because Derek Carr's coming back off an injury. Derek Carr kind of sucks. Week 2, I said the Saints are probably the most fraudulent 2-0 team I've ever seen, and it looked like that was right. Chris Olave, don't give a damn. What does he do? He doesn't do anything. He's just a wide receiver for the Saints, just like he said in his interrogation by the police. So yeah, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna say anything about the Saints winning this game because I really don't think that they do. I feel like it's gonna be a sloppy game. And whoever turns the ball over less will win this one. Jose also went Panthers, but everyone else went Saints. So, Josh, why'd you go Saints?
I mean, Panthers are pretty bad. That's about it.
Is that everyone else's answer for that?
Two things. First off, yawn emoji to what Tim just said. Second off, negative 147 points differential for the Panthers. Second worst is negative 76.
Damn.
Well, whatever. We'll see. So then Bengals Raiders. Jose's the only one that went Raiders. Mekel, disappointed in you for not.
I thought about it, but I just felt in like the force that Jose was picking Raiders, so I knew one of us had him. So we're good.
Yeah. Or, guess you don't have Aiden O'Connell at quarterback, so the Bengals look like I don't know, they need to win now. They're kind of like the Jets in the same position. I saw that the Bengals have like the 10th draft pick in this year's upcoming draft currently, so they need to start winning some football games and just looking better in general. It's in Cincinnati though, so that's why I think most of us went with Cincinnati. Plus, the Raiders just kind of suck. They're like the most mid football team of all time. So I'm not going to say anything about that since Mekel didn't have anything to say. But what I am going to talk about is how the Browns are going to beat the Chargers. Like I said, Jameis Winston, that whole team, that whole city is revitalized. It is just alive again. Believe land. You heard that in 2016. Thinking it's a Believe land moment right now. They might make a little run to the playoffs here, honestly. Jameis Winston might have been the quarterback that threw 30 and 30 a couple years ago, but hey, he won me a fantasy championship doing that in a separate league, not our league. But yeah, I don't know. Some people are on the Browns team this week. Nobody that's in this call, so that's disappointing. Looks like I just have to talk about everything. But Jameis Winston to Cedric Tillman, that connection looks good. His connection to Njoku always looks good. Nick Chubb's getting going again. If this game was in LA, I'd pick the Chargers, but I'm going with Cleveland since it's in the dog pound. Hard place to play. Caden, why'd you go LA in this?
I just think obviously now there'll be a little more. LA's defense has been performing at an elite level, and they might be a little better prepared for the Jameis to Cedric Tillman connection on the outside. They might have the personnel to match up with it a little better. Although, I mean, the Ravens secondary is pretty nasty as well. I mean, this one I was really 50-50 on. I just picked the Chargers just because, hopefully Justin Herbert can pull his head out of his ass and make some plays.
It's probably one of the better games of the week. So then we'll go on to the NFC East matchup. Josh, I know last time you picked the Giants in this, and you almost had it right. Have you either gained faith in Jaden Daniels and the Commanders, or have you just lost faith completely in the New York Football Giants? Because it is in MetLife.
I would say a little bit of both. And I feel like that's quite fair, as clearly Jaden Daniels is quite good. Commanders are for real. And yeah, I think we can all agree we've seen enough of Daniel Jones. I don't care if it's Tommy DeVito or Drew Lock. I think they'd be better off. So maybe the commies can finally do it to him.
Brian Dable did say he's sticking with Daniel Jones, which is probably the worst decision.
Well, when you have to go out every single week and say, "Yep, he's going to be our starter," then it's not good.
Yeah, it's very true. And if, like I said earlier this year, if anyone watched that Hard Knocks, you'd see how stupid the entire Giants organization is. Letting Saquon walk to begin with, and then trusting in Devin Singletary at RB1, and now he's not even the RB1. What are we doing? But Tyrone Tracy is a bright spot of that team, and so is Malik Neighbors. But, you don't have a quarterback to throw them the football. So then we're probably going to go to the most disgusting game of all year, besides next week's game in Germany, uh, which is the Giants and Panthers, by the way. Patriots and Titans. Brady, you finally picked your Patriots once again. Why did you do it?
Combination of factors. I don't think it matters who New England runs out there at quarterback. They're better than whatever Tennessee has. And Tennessee's coming off that ass kicking they got from Detroit last week. And teams playing the following week after getting beat up against Detroit haven't won a game this year. So got kind of two things rolling for them.
Pretty sure it's like 20 straight games or something like that now. It's a crazy streak.
Impressive.
Yeah. So I'm riding with it too, Nelson.
Yeah, that's about. I don't think either team cracks 20 in this game unless the defense scores twice. So it'll be an ugly game, but I think the Pats come out on top.
Josh, you're just salty that the Titans are the team that's put you so far down in the standings.
That might have a little something to do with it. I'm no longer picking them anymore. They're banned. So yeah, maybe. But also, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's at 20 something, that Lions streak, and that's crazy. So I'm gonna keep riding with that too.
I don't care if it's Mason Rudolph or Will Levis at quarterback. Either of the well, I don't know if they're better than Jacoby Brissett, but they're better than Drake May. And Drake
No.
May, not
No.
me.
No, Drake May's the best out of all four of those guys. Come on.
Hey, did anyone watch Mason Rudolph at the very beginning of last week's game? That man was putting his body on the line and making plays that I didn't even see him make at Oklahoma State.
Dude can play for sure.
Yeah, thank you.
He
But
can play. He didn't say good.
it's also in Tennessee, and I feel like the Titans are a lot better at home.
Especially when Nashville is buzzing.
What'd you say?
Guys,
The Nashville buzzing.
you guys ever seen?
You
You
got
guys
all
ever
those.
seen those guys in the end zone that talk crap to the players?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you're telling me that those guys aren't going to get in Drake May's head? Come on now.
Nah.
Drake May's still seeing stars. So.
I would say any position players on the Patriots, but they have literally nobody on that offense. So yeah, I mean, you can't even say that. You can't even sit there and go back and forth with them. But I don't know. Like Caden said, Nashville buzzing. You got the bachelorette parties. They get drunk on Saturday night, Friday night. They probably go to a Vanderbilt game on Saturday. And they come back.
Yes. Watch Diego Pavia ball out.
Yeah, and then they come
The
back
best
and
quarterback
come
in
there
Nashville.
Sunday
Yep.
morning, and they see that. But anyway, enough talk about that game. Bears and Cardinals. Mekel, are you a closet Bears fan? Because I feel like you picked the Bears a lot this year. Do you just listen to the media that Caleb Williams is good?
The only media I listen to is you, Tim. No, I think the Bears overall are a better team than the Cardinals. The Cardinals have a worse rush defense, worse pass defense than the Commanders, and now they're playing Jaden Daniels. I think the defense has a better outline of how to handle Kyler Murray, and I think for that, like those reasons, they can beat him.
Can we stop with these games of these quarterback matchups that I just absolutely hate? Oh my God, I can't stand Kyler Murray or Caleb Williams or the next week's game between Lawrence and Jalen Hurts, but that's besides the point. I've said it once, I've said it a million times. Cardinals at home are a lot better than they are playing in that red zone. That's tough. Glendale is a tough place to play. That's basically why I went Cardinals in this one. I think it's more of a battle than of the mid teams than anything. But Cason, why'd you go Cardinals?
Well, first off, Chicago has to come to the Chicago Cardinals back in the day. But honestly, I think that losing on a Hail Mary like that is extremely demoralizing to a team. Um, I mean, you had the win secured. You were going to be third in the division. You were going to be what, 5-3 there now, and you lose that way, or you're going to be 5-2. You fall to 4-3. Kyler's been kind of balling out the last few weeks. We'll see if the COD curse takes over this week or not. And I think the Cardinals will win, some kind of 2017 game or something like that. Something where it's close, where the Bears defense keeps them in it, but they lose another demoralizing game, just kind of like the Jets, where they just keep losing these demoralizing games.
It's a fair point. Caden, you also went the Bears on this.
Yeah, I think that defense is the best unit out of all four units that will be playing in the game. So more so just riding with the Bears defense, even if it is in Glendale. Glendale's not like Nashville. It's not going to be, So that's why I went with the Bears.
How close is Glendale
Sorority.
to like Tempe? Do we know?
The sorority girls down there get pretty loud out here.
I was gonna say sorority girls in Tempe. They could get rowdy if they're
It's
Now we're
Glendale is not close to Phoenix or anything. It's completely by itself.
Yeah.
The stadium's
It's
in the
north-
middle of nowhere, I'm pretty sure.
It's northwest corner. Tempe's on the southeast side.
Yeah.
It's like an hour
I
drive.
mean,
never know. They might make the road
around
trip.
there are 80-year-old retired elderly individuals.
They might make the road trip for the 3 o'clock Sunday game. Who knows?
They
Brady,
do just take a nap in those seats anyways.
Brady, you're a big Caleb Williams guy, so why'd you go with the Bears? Is that why?
No, I hate Caleb Williams with a passion, but it's been, I want to say, like 5 years since the Cardinals won 3 games in a row and COD release this weekend. So ain't no way Kyler's going to be dialed in, especially not against that Bears defense, which is the only bright spot on that team. I don't care what anyone says.
I'd debate that. I'd say there's special teams with Torrey Taylor at punter. I mean, you can consider that defense, but
A rookie punter shouldn't be a bright spot on anybody's team.
Well, he's dominant.
according to Caleb Williams, I don't know. He wasn't gonna have to punt this year.
I mean, he does get more reps than just about any other punter in the league.
He scored me 26 fantasy points on one of my leagues last week. He's a pretty good punter. But anyway, we'll move on to the game.
League has punters in it?
Our league should have that. But anyway, we'll move on to another quarterback matchup that I absolutely can't stand. Jalen Hurts and Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence looked like ass last week until the fourth quarter. I don't care what anyone says. I was right about him. He's bad. He's not a good NFL quarterback. Josh, don't care what you say. You can hide your screen and hide your mic all you want. It's true.
They just traded their starting left tackle. I've never heard of that before in my.
Yeah, that guy actually got benched.
Well, okay, he hasn't been
He's
good
nasty.
still.
You know who they
He's
still
from USC, right? Cam Robinson.
They still have Ezra Cleveland.
He was a second round pick back in 2017.
So the only thing that I can talk about in this game is Jalen Hurts vulturing touchdowns from Saquon Barkley. So if you're going to bet Saquon Barkley anytime touchdown, I don't know if I'd do it this week. Anyone have anything else to say about this? We all went Eagles. I kind of hope Jacksonville wins just because of that, but
In Philly,
Someone's
they're a better
bound to win.
team.
Tough to go against Bright Skin Jesus.
Okay. Um, so then game of the week here, so they call it Packers Lions. Brady went with the Packers. Mekel went with the Packers, and so did Chris. So Brady and Mekel, explain your reasoning.
Brady, you want to go first?
Honestly, this was a toss-up game to me. I think the Lions are due for a bit of a letdown, and coin flip game. I went with the home team.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same boat. Green Bay at home, starting a little later in the year. Um, Also, just like watching the Vikings game, like Detroit beat us, but when Jared Goff gets pressure on him, that guy scrambles and makes some crazy fucking decisions. So if Green Bay can get the pressure on him and disrupt him a little bit, it's not going to go good. Green Bay, despite who the quarterback is, doesn't matter. LaFleur's going to script up a really good offense, and I think Detroit can get scored on pretty easily. Aiden Hutchinson's out, so yeah, I think like they've been flying a little too close to the sun recently. I think it's the time for them to come down for a game. So
I will say I did see a stat that the quarterbacks that have gotten blitz most this year, Sam Darnold somehow has the highest passer rating when getting blitz this year, and then second is
insane.
Jared Goff. So the Packers pass rush has not been that good this year. It's been more of their secondary being pretty decent. They had like the game where they had like 8 sacks against Levis and the Titans, but that's mostly where the majority of their numbers come from. So I don't know. Like Mekel said, though, if Jared Goff actually has to get outside the pocket and scramble, Xavier McKinney's always there. Jair Alexander, I haven't heard about his injury condition. I think he's questionable still. But, you got players that can pick off footballs. Um, I went with the Lions just because I feel like nobody can actually beat the Lions right now besides themselves or Dan Campbell's idiotic coaching. That's probably what it'll boil down to in the playoffs. I do think Malik Willis should start this game for Green Bay just because they have a bye next week and it makes no sense to throw Love out there just like they did against the Vikings. Probably have a horrible first half and then have to try to come back in the second half against the Lions, which I feel like is a lot less manageable than the Vikings is like they did week 4 or week 3, whatever that was. Um, so Cason, I know you had a point to make about this game as well.
I went with the Lions. I do think they're a better team. The Packers are extremely banged up after that Jaguars game because they can't play in Jacksonville without either getting blown out or getting their entire roster injured, basically. But I did see today that it's supposed to be raining in Green Bay on Sunday, and there was some stat about Jared Goff just being atrocious in the rain, basically.
Yeah, he had what, like 14 games that he's going to play in a dome this year or something.
Yep.
And he has yet to play outdoors. I just looked at that. He has not played outdoors yet this season. So I don't know. Does Arizona have a retractable roof or do they just
No, I
anyone?
think it's just dumb over it.
I was going to say I think it because that's the only one I was thinking.
They just
But
bring the field outside. They grow the
yeah,
grass
they
outside.
water the grass, but yeah. So I don't know. There's a chance that Packers could win this, but most of us are going Lions. So then Josh once again did not go with his precious Seattle Seahawks, but
Guy's
Cade.
fake.
I already gave my reason why. Gino can play perfect and they still might lose. It's incredible.
I don't remember the last time I saw Geno Smith play perfect in a game besides maybe at West Virginia, but okay. Caden, why'd you go with the Seahawks in this?
Yeah, I saw a stat after the Vikings Rams game, and obviously the Rams got those receivers back, so they're looking a lot more impressive. But I also saw that Sean McVay in his career on Thursday night, coming on off a short week, is like 7-0 now. So he might just be a short week genius. Might have played into a reason why they look so great against the Vikings. But yeah, I think this will be actually a very fun game, very high scoring. I don't think any offense will stop each other. Obviously DK being out is tough, but had to ride with Seattle, and I'm pretty sure isn't the game in Seattle, Tim, or is it in LA?
It's in Seattle.
Yeah, that's was also another reason. Just home of the 12th man, not fucking Aggie
Rumor,
Stadium on the couch.
rumor has it 12th man's not a thing anymore. Buffalo took it over last week. Did you hear that?
Yeah, they're not cheering for Geno Smith, are they?
Hey, I'm not in Seattle.
It's
Buffalo, hey,
Atlanta.
Buffalo does
Rumor.
travel well. They travel probably better than anybody besides maybe like the Packers and Steelers fans.
Steelers.
Yeah, they were saying it felt like a home game for Buffalo. That's crazy. Might have to get out there for a game, Caden.
Buffalo.
Tim.
We know where the 12th man originated. It's Texas A&M. Come on, people.
No. Well, yeah, because of those gay yell leaders.
Yeah.
Hey, Tim. If I'm
Yeah.
not mistaken, this is the first time we've gotten Brady and Josh on a podcast in a while.
That's very true. Are we gonna have this Geno debate right now, or are we moving on?
I don't know, Nelson.
I'm not the one defending his dumbass.
I don't need to defend him from anything.
Let me ask Nelson where to just get a gauge. Because obviously Nelson's not as high on Geno as Josh. But Nelson, where would you say if you were ranking the quarterbacks, just a general range, where would you say Geno is?
When I bashed on him a couple weeks ago, I'd say he was probably like 18, 19, 20. I'd say now he's probably at about 15. He's still comfortably
That's fair.
outside the top 12, right in the middle of that, like an average to slightly below average quarterback.
And where's Goff?
About 5 spots higher.
And where's Kirk?
Same range.
Really?
Yeah.
Goff is like 5 spots higher. I'd honestly say Goff is like
Top 10 right
the
now.
like 6-7 range at this point.
Goff also has the best player in the NFL
Yeah.
on his offense.
Goff
I
hasn't
think
been
Geno
asked
at
to do
15 is
anything
more
all
than fair.
season. It's embarrassing what they're asking Goff to do, honestly.
He's like their Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, that's a great comparison right there.
Except he is legitimately good.
At doing what? Handing
He
the
wasn't
ball
the
off?
first overall pick for no reason.
I don't think
remember that.
Garoppolo's putting up these kind of numbers.
No,
Good, man.
Garoppolo on his 10 pass attempts would have 15 yards.
No,
Goff had
Garoppolo's
3
still on a
touchdowns.
run first offense, though.
Run first. Okay. The Chiefs run a run first offense now, Caden.
Well, Patty's got multiple Super Bowls, so that's kind of irrelevant.
Yeah, and Goff's played in more than half the league has.
And then they traded his ass away.
Because they couldn't win one with him.
I mean, when you can upgrade like that, you
Matt
upgrade.
Stafford? Yeah.
I guarantee they wouldn't have traded his ass for Geno.
Wow. Geno blew up in the last 2 years.
That's a shame he's been in the league for 12.
Yeah, you can get
The
better.
Bronco or
Some people are late bloomers, I guess.
Yeah.
the Broncos gave all that capital for Geno to downgrade at quarterback. And I'm a Russ guy now.
I forget, Caden.
Better.
Do you hate Russ or do you like Russ? Because it switches every week.
Oh, it's a love-hate relationship. I just love watching him cook nowadays.
The moonballs are great.
I'm a Russ guy, but I'm not like a Russ is a top 10 guy.
All right. So then
I just love how much he loves football.
I know you love his commercials too.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Tim, Broncos country.
Yeah, let's ride. Yeah, Steelers Nation, let's ride now. So then the game that got flexed into Sunday night, thank God, it was going to be the Jaguars and Eagles, but now it's Vikings Colts. Like we mentioned earlier, Anthony Richardson officially benched. Thank God for that as well. It's too bad Dylan's not in here, so we could absolutely flame him for his god-awful take of Anthony Richardson being the MVP this year, or whatever he even said. Cason, you went the Colts on this. Is it because of Joe Flacco being announced at quarterback? Because he is an elite QB.
Yeah, I think with Joe Flacco as the quarterback, the Colts are more on a win now team, and the Vikings the last few weeks have just kind of fallen apart. They started really hot against the Rams, but their offense was not very good outside of those first 2 drives where they mustered 6 points the rest of the game. And the defense, the secondary is just not great against veteran quarterbacks. So I went with the Colts this week. I think Jonathan Taylor gets back going again, and Joe Flacco has that team rolling a little bit, but it'll be a close one here in Minneapolis.
Um, one of you Vikings fans, let's hear why you picked Minnesota.
I would just like to say I hate that this game has gotten flexed into Sunday night. I love to wake up and watch my team play at noon with Kenny Albert and Jonathan Vilma on the call. And when I'm hungover and that annoying ass shit, their terrible broadcasting just maximizes my hangover. Because those two are, I'd never want to listen to those two, but I love it at the same time. And then Jamie Erdahl will be blowing the Gallo horn. Good morning football host. She'll be in town to blow the Gallo horn for the Vikings to kick that game off. Even though Sam Darnold sucks, I feel like the defense comes back to form a little bit, and they're going to unleash TJ Hawkinson again this week. So I think that'll give the offense a boost.
Wow, that was a lot, Caden.
That
Josh,
was electric.
Josh,
I don't know if I can follow up
say?
that. Colts defense is pretty bad. Expect the Vikings get off to a hot start like we normally do. Just hopefully won't blow it at the end. The old Flacco goat.
I have to agree with you, Caden. I absolutely hate that commentary team.
Yes, dude. It gives you a
I had
headache.
this with them last week for the Packers and Jags game, and I don't want to mute the TV.
When you're already starting with a hangover to wake up on a Sunday, and then you have to listen to those two. And Jonathan Vilma did absolutely no homework on the game he's calling. It's just crazy. And Kenny Albert.
Oh God. All right. Okay, so then the Monday night game. Pretty much everyone went the Chiefs in this, reasonably so. I mean, Chiefs are undefeated, but this is a week that ends. Buccaneers, all they do is prove people wrong. I mean, they've proved Devin wrong several times because I swear that dude has picked them every single week. He's probably doing some Josh Giles reverse psychology here with the Chiefs pick, but like Josh did last week with the Rams. I just feel like the Chiefs, like last week's game, did not impress me at all. Yeah, Travis Kelce found the end zone. Oh my God, he's a 34-year-old bum that can still score. Congrats. I mean, I don't care. The Chiefs have been due for a loss every single week this season. Like, I feel like there's only one game where they were like, oh, legitimately, like, oh yeah, they easily won that game. Like, every single game of theirs has been close. They're not a very good undefeated team. It reminds me of the Steelers when they went like 11-0 and then lost to the Washington football team back in like 2021 or whatever that was.
Yep.
And then they ended up losing a bunch of games straight. I hope that happens with the Chiefs, but I hope that this losing streak starts this week against Tampa Bay. I don't know. Baker, even without weapons last week, was still slinging it. And the Chiefs, I have to say, the Chiefs are worse than any defense against tight ends. And Cade Otton. Cade Otton was balling last week. Josh, do you think that they're going to be able to smother Cade Otton or what?
I trust Nick Bolton to smother Cade Otton, yes.
Big physical tight end like Cade Otton, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm not too worried about it. Stop the run game. Shut him down, get him in third and long. Send Chris Jones at Baker. Let's see Baker run around on the Chiefs defense.
Fair. Brady, you haven't talked in a while. Why'd you pick the Chiefs?
I got sick of picking the game wrong. I don't know. It'd be different if Mike Evans was out there, but I'm just trying to get some picks correct. Pick with the league instead of against it. See if I can work my way into that top three.
Fair enough. Like I said, I feel like this is a week where I lose the lead in this, but enough talk about this week. We are going to, since it's halfway through the season, we're going to take a look back at our predictions.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah, this looks real good to start. Why is this not maximizing? Anyway, so AFC East. Who has the worst pick in here? Obviously, Brady and Caden know what they're doing. But
I think Dylan.
is Dylan's worse, or is the rest of us being the Jets?
I think Dylan. Who the fuck would pick the
They're equally as bad.
In Dylan's defense, the Jets were missing their starting quarterback for like half
Right.
the year.
The
That's the
Dolphins
Jets
are
is the worst pick.
I think the Jets is the worst pick too, honestly.
I still think that there's a chance for Aaron Rodgers to run the table, though. I mean, yes,
Make a wild card, maybe.
yeah, I know, but he has the Packers former team with them. I mean, I don't know. I've seen it too many times as a Packers fan to completely lose faith in Aaron Rodgers. I don't care if he's 40. I still think that they have a chance at coming back this year to make a wild card spot, like you said. But I would argue that the Dolphins is the worst pick in this. I mean, the Jets look god awful too, but Speaking of bad picks, though, Nelson, Bengals.
I'm not the only one with the Bengals pick.
Yeah. You're right, Nelson, and
Well,
I didn't realize how shitty Joe Burrow was
I was
until
gonna say Caden started his hate train for Joe Burrow about 3 weeks ago. So
Bengals are like 3 plays going a different way away from being a 5-win team instead of a 2-win team.
Wow.
So are the Jets.
No, the Jets just outright suck.
well, Ravens are looking. I mean, no one picked the Steelers. Would
True.
anybody change their pick to the Steelers at this point?
Yeah, I'd throw some money on the Steelers.
Anybody else? Or is it just the one Russell Wilson believer in here?
If they still had Fields starting, maybe I would.
Interesting. Let's see. AFC West. Wow. Mekel.
Oh yeah.
Are you still riding with the Chargers, or are you going to think
You know, it's probably going to be the Chiefs, but I'm going to stick with the Chargers. I'm gonna ride it out.
That's
I'm gonna
fair?
pray it happens.
Love to see that. AFC South was right for the most part, besides delusional Dylan, who has the Colts. So not much to talk about there. I mean, the Jags and Titans both suck, so at least we all had that right.
In his defense, I think the Colts are like a half game back from the lead in that division.
Yeah, they are, and the Texans are the 2 seed somehow in the AFC, which makes me just cringe so much. So don't write the Colts off completely yet, I guess. NFC East. Nobody picked the Commanders because nobody believed in the Commanders. Although I will say, I was very close to picking the Commanders as my surprise team, and I wish I would have. But no Cowboys in this. It was a little bit surprising to see no Cowboys. But Eagles have been somewhat of a letdown. Not much else to say here. Lions and Packers in this. That's a division that's still pretty wide open for 3 of the teams. I don't care what anyone says. The Bears aren't going to come close to sniffing that division. Mekel and Caden, as Vikings fans, you both picked the Packers.
Yeah, I mean the Vikings start out 5-0, but I think all Vikings fans knew this was gonna end really quickly. We can still win the division. I don't know. I think the favorite's probably Detroit right now. I don't know. It's between those 3. It's gonna be a close one. It's gonna be down to week 17 or week 18, whatever we have now.
Yeah, I wouldn't count out the Bears.
You don't think we should count out the Bears?
Bears are
No,
done.
we can count the Bears out. I don't really care, I guess. Anyone can win that division.
They can't compete with the other 3. I don't think. I think they're a tier below.
I could see the Bears going 0-6 in the division, honestly.
Yep.
I mean, unless they have a Monday Night Football game against the Vikings, because they always seem to win that somehow.
They actually do.
Do they really?
It's like December 16th in Minnesota.
Oh my God.
Wonderful.
Well, maybe they'll go 1-5 then. Let's see. Brady and Chris went with the Rams. Josh went with the Seahawks. No surprise there. Josh, are you still going with Seattle?
I think he hopped off.
I think
Josh.
we've lost
Oh,
Josh.
Josh lost his phone. That's right. I'm just gonna answer yes for him because he's a big Geno guy. Brady, are you liking your Rams pick now that they're healthy?
Yeah. I'm all in for the Rams to be a 4 seed in the NFC, get bounced in the first round by whoever of Green Bay and Detroit doesn't make it. Or doesn't win the division, I guess.
Fair enough. I think I'd actually change my pick to the Rams in this. I don't have much faith in the 49ers the rest of the year.
Same.
NFC South, I went with the Buccaneers. Chris, Devin, Jose, and Brady also went with the Bucks. This was the one division that we were split on the most. Besides NFC or AFC East, I guess. I don't know if I'd change my pick to the Falcons or not. Both teams look pretty solid. They both had like 2 games of the year against each other. Falcons winning both of them, but I think that the Kurt collapse is going to happen at some point. But
the Falcons are 5-0 in their division right now, I think. They've swept 2 of the teams. I think they have like 1 or 2 more games left. I can't remember. But so if they get like a game or 2 outside of that, they should have it clinched up if it comes to a tie or something.
And the Falcons have an astronomically easy schedule left. They play one team with the winning record, which is the Vikings, and I guess maybe the Chargers.
Yeah, well, congrats on the playoffs, Falcons. Let's see. Rookie of the year, this is the interesting one. Me, Dylan, Devin, and Chris all went Jaden Daniels. He's looking like the front runner, and Cason, I'll give you your time to talk real quick here. But Caden and Brady went Marvin Harrison Jr. What do you guys feel about him so far?
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, you just got to get on page with Kyler, but obviously I would switch to Jane Daniels at this point. It looks like odds-on favorite, and it shouldn't be close.
Brady, would you switch your pick to Jaden Daniels, or would you go a different player? Because I feel like you'd go a different route.
No, they can already start etching Daniel's name into it. He's running away with that now.
Okay, this is where Cason has his moment to shine here then, with who he thinks his pick should be. Because it's not Bo Nix.
No, it's not Bo Nix, although his stats were actually better than I thought when I looked at him earlier today. There's a player who's leading the NFL in receptions right now who's a rookie, and I know it's going to go to Jaden Daniels because it's rigged for quarterbacks, just like MVP's rigged for quarterbacks. Someone could score like 40 touchdowns receiving, and a quarterback would still win it. But we need to give a shout out, I think, to Brock Bowers here, leading the NFL in receptions. He's top 10 or 12 in receiving yards. He only has 1 touchdown, but he's got kind of bumps thrown to him. I think if they were to actually be fair and give it to anyone, he'd win it because he's going to shatter pretty much every tight end rookie record, again, outside of touchdowns. But, I would go Brock Bowers here. But again, he's not going to win it. He's not a quarterback.
Yeah, he's on the Raiders too, and he has a stinky WSU quarterback passing to him. So I think that's like plus 50 votes right there. That's what he should get.
Wow. Just the Gardner Minshew hate is crazy. Nobody's gonna say Joe Alt for this though. Anybody? I feel like Kate could respect some offensive lineman work.
Yeah, Joe. I mean, he's a dog, but
would an offensive lineman ever win that award?
I don't think it's ever happened.
There's no way.
Probably will never happen.
I almost need to create make a trenches award for it.
All right, and then well, if we want to talk Caleb Williams, we can, but Mekel, Kobe, and Josh.
Is that Nick Chubb for the Browns?
It is Nick Chubb for the Browns.
I thought it was Deshaun Watson for a second. I was like,
so did I.
Oh, me too. I was looking at that and I was like, why did Josh pick Deshaun Watson?
I was like, Josh.
Jameis Winston at this point. But yeah, we're not even going to speak on Caleb Williams. He's not going to come close to sniffing that award. Rightfully so. Comeback player of the year. Almost everyone said Rodgers, but Caden, you went with Joe Burrow.
Yeah, he might still be in the running just based on his counting stats, even though he hasn't played winning football. I mean, neither has Rodgers. And I think Joe Burrow actually has a lot more touchdowns and yards or whatever. So I'd probably leave it, I guess.
I seriously don't know who you could give this award to at this point.
I just Googled it, and odds actually have Burrow in second behind Kirk.
I was gonna say maybe Kirk. Yeah,
Yeah, and who?
Kirk.
Perk.
Cousins.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think about that. Oh my gosh.
I was gonna say maybe Sam Darnold. You could maybe say him, but
What about Kyler? Is he on the list?
I
think he
didn't
was
see him in the
healthy.
top 5.
I think he was
Somehow-
healthy too many games last year to be eligible for it. Didn't he
Okay.
play like 2/3 of the season?
Might have.
Yeah, something. Somehow DeMar Hamlin's in 5th in odds, which I don't really know what he's
Wow.
coming back for.
He died like 3 years ago.
Hamlin.
Maybe
I
just from
love
being
that
a
award
practice
to
squad
DeMar
player.
Hamlin right now.
Crazy. I think it's too early to tell all this, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean we're just
like 4 games.
midway through the season. That's why we're doing it. But yeah, that'll be an interesting one. Nick Chubb hasn't played enough to have his name in that conversation yet. Hasn't had enough reps. MVP.
Correct me if I'm wrong on that though. Didn't Flacco win it last year and he didn't start a game until like week 10?
Did they give it to Flacco or was it DeMar Hamlin last year?
It was Flacco, but they changed the criteria or heavily persuaded the criteria to be more about injuries than just coming back from being asked, basically.
Okay. Well, Flacco was deserving of it. But yeah, you're right. He didn't start till late in the year. It was like a Thursday night football game that he made his debut, I think. So
Part 2.
yeah, true. MVP, me and Caden went Josh Allen. That's looking like a decent pick. Cason, Josh, and Chris went CJ Stroud. Somewhat looking decent. Dylan, Mekel, and Kobe all went the chalky Mahomes pick. I mean, Mahomes is
Purdy.
leading the league in interception. Well, actually, I think Jordan Love is now, but he's up there. He obviously has his team undefeated. Devin went with Jordan Love. Brady went Burrow, and then Jose, the 49ers fan, went Brock Purdy. I don't know if that was a joke or if he was serious. No Lamar Jackson in this at all.
I think Brady was
that nobody put Lamar Jackson.
I think voter fatigue.
Brady texted me and said he wanted to put Lamar in. Said,
Nope.
I would say Lamar. I mean, I don't know. I didn't pick him to start off with. All he does is just
Win until it gets to a big spot.
Lamar things.
Shits his pants all over the place.
Yeah, give me another AFC quarterback that hasn't no other than Patrick Mahomes right now.
This is true. I don't want
I
to
think
hear
Allen's
it,
the guy
Tim.
right now. He's really good stats, playing really clean, improved up last year. I think he's the guy right now.
Yeah, I think it's got to be Allen, Lamar, or dark horse of Jared Goff, depending on the second half of the year.
Kobe, that was Kobe's bold prediction, was that Jared Goff would win MVP, which is probably looking like the best bold prediction so far. Surprise teams. Let's see. Dylan, Devin, and me went Colts. Mekel, Brady, and Jose went Chargers. Josh went Seahawks. We won't talk about that. Caden also went Chargers. Chris went Commanders. Wow, Chris was right about that. But then he has his letdown pick of the Lions. Ugh. That's tough.
Still a lot of season left. Never know.
Kobe went Rams for his surprise. Cason, Jets. Was it that they were surprisingly going to be bad, or that they were going to shock the nation and win the Super Bowl?
Well, as you saw by my division pick, I thought they'd actually be good and push for an upper tier in the AFC, but the defense fell apart. Rodgers should retire. Every receiver on that team's been kind of ass outside of Garrett Wilson getting force fed, and even he's been kind of ass at times. Brees Hall regressed. The O-line sucks. I honest to God think the only player that might not have been a letdown this year is Tyler Conklin.
His expectations were too low to have a letdown, though.
Exactly.
Are we just saying Tyler Conklin because it was National Tight End Day last week, or what? Because why did
Rodgers just likes to force feed that man for no reason? It's kind of like Alan Lazard. Alan Lazard was like tied for the touchdown lead for a couple weeks there because Rodgers just loved to force feed the man.
Well, then we got our letdown teams. Bears, me and Dylan, self-explanatory. I don't need to rant about the Bears anymore. They suck. They might have a winning record, but they're not actually good. Cason's was the Dolphins, which is looking
Good
good.
pick.
Josh and Evan went Bills. Caden, Chris, and Mekel went Lions, which is not looking good.
Yeah, a lot of season left, like Mekel said.
It's fair enough. Kobe went Bengals, which probably triggers Brady, but Brady also went the Rams or the Ravens, which is not a surprise to anybody in here.
The Bengals one, that was a good pick.
And then Jose went Steelers. Brady, are you still saying that the Ravens are a letdown?
I haven't been particularly impressed with any of their games this year. And that includes their what, 4 wins, 5 wins?
Even their ass kicking of the Bills.
Bills are due for that game.
Or their ass kicking of the Bucks.
They were getting the Bucks were kicking their ass until Evans went down. They were up like 14-0 at that point.
They're up 10-0 in the first quarter. Lamar went down and just planted their dick on their face.
That was after Evans got knocked out and they could just bracket Godwin the whole game.
Still couldn't stop the Ravens offense anyways. It wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah, that defense is worse though.
I don't think Mike Evans is worth like 30 points or whatever it was before Todd Bowles decided to leave all those starters in and get everyone injured in garbage time.
That wasn't garbage time though. They still had a chance to win, especially after recovering that onside kick.
They were still down 10 after they recovered that.
Yeah, score, recover another one because apparently everyone can recover those against the Ravens.
30 seconds. I know Cade Otton's good, but he's not Jesus.
He's a pretty good third option, which is what he would have been with Evans and Godwin out there.
Bucks Ravens play 10 times. Ravens win 9.
I don't know. That Ravens defense is going to come back to haunt them, whether that's the first round of the playoffs or the second.
Well, we will have to see because a lot of people picked the Ravens as their Super Bowl matchup. What do you guys think is the worst Super Bowl matchup out of everybody here, or the one that's not likely to happen at all?
Texans 49ers.
Yeah, I was going to say Texans Niners.
Everything else is still in contention, I'd say. But yeah, that one. Yeah.
I guess really the only team that's like, I don't know. I mean, the Bengals are probably the team that you could least realistically see getting to the Super Bowl right now, just because if they do get in, they're going to be at the bottom of the AFC and have to play road games every week against tough opponents. And the AFC is probably just too strong to have to go on the road every week and get to the Super Bowl.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure the Bengals have a win at home this year. I think all of their 3 wins, I think it is, are on the road. So it's not like they're a great home team compared to road.
They should have beat the Chiefs at home, but
Yep.
Yeah.
They also 9 times out of 10 beat the Patriots at home as well.
And then Super Bowl champions, a lot of similarities. We have Packers for one of them, Bengals for one, and then everything else either has 2 votes or more than 2. So those are still looking somewhat strong. Anybody have anything that they want to say for the best thing that they saw this week, or are we done here?
Jalen Hurts shitting on Joe Burrow's head on his own field.
Wow. Just not a big Joe Burrow guy at all anymore, huh?
I like Joe Burrow. I mean, I would still rather have him as my quarterback than anyone on the Vikings, but still pretty good.
I got to go with the referee report for that Thursday night game when they claim they just didn't see.
Yeah, that was pretty bad, pretty blatant. Like I said, he needs to be better about selling it. Like Aaron Rodgers. Anybody see anything about that Chargers offensive lineman just beating the crap out of that Saints guy that twisted up Herbert.
Oh yeah, I
I
did.
can't believe that
see
defender did
video.
that. That was insane.
That was pretty good. Other than that, I'd say Tyreek Stevenson just taunting the Washington crowd and getting absolutely shit on afterwards. That was hilarious. But
And then it was used by Charlie Kirk as a political reference to keep our foot on the Democrats.
yeah, it's
What?
true.
Because he was saying, like, as Republicans, if we let up like Tyreek Stevenson on this play, Kamala will win on a Hail Mary. Just should be a reminder to us to keep our foot on the gas all the way through election day.
What's his name? Tyreek Stevenson?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna make that joke.
Other best thing is Anthony Richardson, I think, just deciding to come out. Shout out Dylan.
Yeah, I should have a freezing cold take section of this and put Dylan front and center of it with him saying Anthony Richardson is the GOAT because holy crap, that was terrible. But anyway, that'll wrap up this week. Appreciate all the guys being on. Brady, surprised you weren't on old fashioned tonight.
I feel like that was an unnecessary shot to take, but okay.
No wild statements out of Nelson tonight, unfortunately. Got a little bit of banter with the Geno Smith thing, though, between the two sides. So, we'll see after this week. We'll see what Geno does, and we'll see what Jared Goff does.
Josh is lucky that Geno's played halfway decent since I originally made that statement.
I mean, Jared Goff has played a lot better, though.
Yeah. Say what you want, but when 80% of your passes get caught, it's pretty impressive for anybody.
Caden's a bit quiet in here now that Josh isn't in here to.
Uh, well, I thought we were ending the pod. First of all, I don't really know if we need to do a whole another 3 minute. I mean, we could go out to debate again next week.
Yeah, we'll do it in the next week if Brady's actually on again.
Or if we actually have it.
Yeah, well, you got to have people to have it. No one just wants to listen to me talk for an hour and a half. So, all right. Well, we'll be back next week. Thanks, guys, for being on, and go Pack, go.